I think Zali actually is Usagi. And let me tell you why I think Zali is Usagi. Zali, I think, is really, 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 really dependable. But also, Zali, in the best way possible, from weird guy to weird guy. Zali is so weird with it. Zali is so weird with it. Sometimes I have no idea how his brain even works. I've seen so many Zali streams where Zali will figure out some sort of like really crazy method to do something. Like I remember like a long time ago, he did this hand cam stream and he took off his glove, which is really dangerous by the way, but he took off his glove and somehow he was able to make it so that everything that was projected was completely projected on his hand. And I still have no idea how this man is able to like figure out all of these things. But Zali is so talented in the way that I think that nobody can really ever replicate. Not just that, but just like Usagi. Sorry, Zali, to hit you with a straight. Sometimes I have no idea what Zali is saying. Sometimes I have no idea what he's talking about. And then he'll try to explain it. Like, for example, when Zali said to me that he was French toast with his fugi, like, in my mind, it took me like 5 minutes to understand what he meant. That he was French toast. Now, to other people, they might have understood that reference like really quickly. But me, it took me forever. It took me forever to understand that. Zali thinks differently. You know how we all have different blood types, like A, B, O? Zali's blood type is completely different from mine. So, we have Zali in the Usagi group. Now, Hati between Vanta and Wilson. Now, I think you can make a good case on both of them, because both Vanta and Willie have this adventurous side to them, especially when it comes down to like making collabs. For example, Wilson, he'll have the whole like idea to make like these really big projects like we did with Nijisanji. So I kind of feel that he kind of feels Hachiwade there, but also whenever I watch Shikawa, I don't know if it's because I have a sort of like a sadistic personality inside of me, but I love it whenever I see Shikawa a little bit in distress, right? I think you agree, right? Whenever you see Shikawa in distress, you're like, oh, this is a moment that can be legendary. And because of that, I think Wilson is definitely a bit more fun to bully just a little bit more than Vanta. But I think what solidifies Vanta more as Hachiwade to me is that Vanta has a very big brother personality to him. While Wilson has a more of a little brother personality, Vanta definitely has more of that big brother personality that we see in Hachiwade. I think Vanta is that kind of person who really looks after people. Like, for example, whenever like we're doing like a collab, right? I feel like Vanta is always spending at least 20% of his brain trying to make sure that everyone is okay. Like, for example, a long time ago, we did this one collab where we had Vanta being a director for when we were playing Atofuru Boyfriend. And director Vanta, even though he was like always like fidgeting with like OBS and making sure like everything was like correct, and he was like deciding who was gonna speak and stuff, I feel like Vanta was always like spending like 20% making sure that everybody had like the right time to shine. Vanta's a very, like low-key, a very good big bro personality. And so I feel that Vanta has to be Hachiwade and Wilson is Chikawa. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Am I cooking? Oh yeah, Willie is also a hamster, which means Chikawa. Okay. Okay. But there are more relationships and dynamics in the Chikawa series, more than just the triple that is Chikawa, Hachiwade, and Usagi. For example, one of my favorite characters in the series is Rockco. He's this yellow blonde swordsman who is essentially like the cool guy. He's like the badass. He's like #1 of the guild. He can drive. Ultimate figure of admiration. So that's Sunny. I don't think we can like, I'm pretty sure that's like a lock. I don't think that there can be more Oni-chan kind of vibe other than Sunny, right? Don't forget his Gapmo, his love for sweets. That's true. He's an otter? He has a car. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that it's Sunny. Not only is Sunny a really strong older brother type in the entirety of Nijisanji, but I remember whenever we do like Street Fighter with Sunny always has this like group. I mean, Sunny always like takes his time. He'll even spend like 2 hours practicing with somebody who's just learning, just so that he can be like a really good teacher and like really help them out a lot. And I think Sunny, who really cares that much about like other people and like wanting them to really get what they want out of life, like a very helpful kind of guy, Sunny is 100% a Rockco kind of character. Really reliable, really thorough, really tough, really cool. I feel like that's a Sunny Briscoe character. Mamonga. Mamonga is probably the most divisive character because out of all the characters in Chiikawa, Mamonga is the most villain character in the sense that like Mamonga has committed a horrible crime in body snatching. But more than that, when you get through that layer of like he snatched somebody's body in order to be cute, you really see this really insecure, anxious sort of character who has no idea what it's like to be cute, even though all he really wants in this whole world is to be cute. And instead what he does is that he'll copy and he'll stress out and do his best. And he's so weak. Like there will be so many times where Usagi is just like messing with him, and Mamonga, all he can really do is just like hiss at him. But Usagi's just like, don't care. What are you gonna do? The body snatcher theory is low-key so sad. It's not even a theory. It's the first episode that Mamonga appears. He's just like, haha, this body's mine now. And then like there's like this monster who's just like, give me back my body. I don't think it's a theory. I think it's just literal fact. Mamonga's me 100%. See, that's the thing. I'm not a body snatcher. I've never snatched anyone's body before. But I do also feel that Mamonga is a character that is a little bit tough to read into. It's like you have to really give him a chance in order to really like him. Later on though, he starts to warm up and he actually is able to do something really amazing. He's able to turn an NPC who has like no face or whatever, but because of Mamonga's kindness, he's able to give this character a face. I think I'm a Mamonga. I feel like I'm a Mamonga. The reason why I'm giving myself Mamonga is because I'm able to understand my own insecurities. Also, the best part about Mamonga that's really funny is that Mamonga always thinks that he's the spit. Like, even though he has all these insecurities or whatever, and he's always trying to be the cutest, he always thinks that he's the spit. That he's the #1 guy. That his spit stinks. That he's like the cutest guy on the block. While he's insecure, he also has this unwavering confidence that he's just like the cutest guy in the whole world. In a way, he's somebody who's able to put on such a strong mask that he's able to fool even himself sometimes. He's like really stupid. But I like Mamonga a lot actually. I think Mamonga is probably like one of my favorite characters. I could definitely see myself as a Mamonga. And he wants to be praised. He also has like a little bit of a praise thing going on. He wants to be hand-fed. I don't mind saying it. I can be a whiny baby. Pochette is a night guy, but it's a night guy who's a really nice guy who really just wants to help people out. And he doesn't really have any like qualms about it. But the thing about Pochette, he's also a little bit introverted, even though he's part of like the whole nightclub and everything. But he's like this really cute character. A lot of the times he'll do all of this work for like no payment whatsoever. But like whenever he gets like fan mail or like he'll get like thanks from somebody, he turns into like a guy who's just like, I'm never gonna forget this. I'm never gonna forget this. I don't know if people will agree with me, but it's gotta be Luca. I don't know. You might not get me instantly, but it's definitely Luca. When you think about it, it's definitely Luca. The thing is that I feel like Luca is like 50% Usagi, because he's like crazy, right? A lot of the times he just speaks nonsense. He speaks nonsense that nobody else understands because it's just like TikTok Zoomer nonsense, right? But let me tell you, Luca is a little bit introverted, but Luca's also probably one of the people who is the most down to help out. Like, I remember one time, this was in a Japan trip, like a long time ago. We were taking a taxi. I remember, like, instead of like any of us just like thinking about how to split the bill and stuff, Luca just pays for it. He doesn't even ask. He just straight up pays for it. A lot of the time, he just straight up pays for a lot of things. I feel like he'll do it even without the idea of being thanked. But Luca's always like one of the people who's like really first on the scene when it comes down to like setting things up for a lot of people. And I think that it can be a little bit thankless sometimes, but when you do thank him, I think he really appreciates it. So yeah, half Pochette, half Usagi, but I don't know. To me, I think Pochette. And I feel like Lucums might agree with that, which is really funny because I'm pretty sure he's also kind of shy about admitting or about like expressing these kinds of things too, but you definitely feel like that. Shisa. Shisa is a character that appears a little bit later on. She is this character that's just like always looking to work, always looking to grind. Whenever I see Shisa, she's always just like, what? This is the legendary ramen master? Wow, please let me work for you. Teach me your ways. I want to grind. I want to do that. I want to be amazing. Just like always grinding to the point where it's like, dang, you work hard as heck. And it's gotta be Claude. Sometimes there are these things about Claude that I'm like, there's no way a human has all this time to work out so consistently, have all of these like new like gym goals, is able to sing so well, so well, understand all of this like technological live stuff, like OBS, whatever, all these like techie stuff. He even knows like how to like reach like master in all these games. Plays Uma Musume. His favorite Uma is Jungle Pocket, who is also just the grinder. He's just doing all these side quests. It always feels like there's some kind of like project that he's doing. There's always something that's like behind those eyes. It's kind of like behind the whole chill dog eating a chili dog vibe guy is the heart of a champion who just grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds. It's insane. I think that's Claude. Let's go back to the original trio, which is the Chikawa Hachiware Usagi. Because I think at the very end of the day, I think what we're really going to do is we're going to really test out which triplet of Chikawa Hachiware Usagi is the best triplet of Chikawa Hachiware Usagi. I think that's probably like the most logical thing to do. Who would work as the next Chikawa? I'm thinking that we put Vox as Usagi. I think we put Vox as Usagi. We know that Vox is this whole agent of chaos, and that Vox has this ability to always be himself no matter where he goes. I feel like that's the most Usagi point, Usagi feeling, that no matter where Usagi goes, he'll always be his super weird self. And every single place I've ever seen Vox, whether it's in a tournament, in an amusement park, or whether it's just like in like a Discord call, Vox is always the same. And I feel like he will always be the same. He'll always be like this really nerdy guy who is just able to spout complete and utter nonsense all the time, but it's not like nonsensical nonsense. It makes perfect sense to Vox. But the thing is that to other people, you might not understand him. You might not understand even half of what he's saying, but you'll understand that he's so passionate about it that you just can't help but be like, dang, I can't wait to listen to more. Who is the next Rockco? Like I said, Rockco is always somebody that if teacher modes, senpai modes, and kind of be like a big oni-chan, one-chan. I know that a lot of livers really fit into this mold. Like actually the first person I thought of that really feels like a whole one-san kind of vibe is actually Millie. But I also feel like Millie's ability to be Usagi is just top tier. So I'm actually going to put Shu as Rockco. I think Whenever I think about Shu, I'm always asking him for help. Every time I have a tournament idea or like a big plan, like when we did the Suika tournament like a long time ago, I remember I asked Shu so much advice about how to set that up, how to like make these like game modes, how to do like a whole bunch of like casting, how to set things up. Shu really comes in clutch a lot of the times with his support. Actually, just this morning, we were having some kind of like issues with like technical audio stuff, and Shu was able to like come in and like fix that so quickly. Like, you have no idea how smart this man is and how on the up and up he is with knowing like everything there is to know. I think that he's probably the smartest person in nijisanjien, maybe even the smartest person that I know. And I feel that when I say that, I feel like everybody understands that. His brain is huge. His brain is huge. His brain is so huge. But the other person I think that Shu could be, because I don't think that anybody here in nijisanjien is like a perfect one of like any of these characters. I feel that Shu is a combination of both Rockco and Shisa, because Shu is also like a huge grinder. And he has like this really nice quality about himself that I don't have, where that whenever he wants to learn something, he doesn't feel embarrassed about searching up something to teach him how to do it. Sometimes I get embarrassed about like looking at like a tutorial or something. But Shu, he will learn. He was like really late into getting into the Umamusume. I think that I was like 2 weeks in. And now at Toro's Cup, he did so well. He came in second place in like the top tier kind of thing. He did really well. Like I said about Mamonga before, Mamonga is a character who has some insecurities, but has this unwavering confidence in themselves. Mamonga is silly, and a lot of the times when they write Mamonga isn't afraid to kind of be the butt of the joke, but Mamonga is also very tsundere, I guess. I don't know who else could be Mamonga. I don't really see anyone else being Mamonga. I honestly don't see Anna as Mamonga. Like, I know Anna can be bratty, but I feel like that's kind of just like, bratty is like the face that she kind of like pulls off sometimes, but I don't think she's naturally bratty. Vare is naturally more bratty than Anna. Can we put Vare's Mamonga? You know, Vare, get in here, Vare. You're Mamonga. You're Mamonga mood me, Vare. I feel that Vare could definitely be a Mamonga. Does that imply you're naturally bratty? I'm extremely bratty. I don't think bratty is the right word to describe me. I think I'm more gremlin. The thing about Vare is that Vare has this shyness about himself that I think really comes out when you like try to get him to do something kind of embarrassing, but he enjoys it a lot in the end. For example, like when we were dancing the Persona 4 song, Bear was like trying really hard, but in the beginning he was embarrassed about it, but eventually he got the self-confidence to match my nasty. Match my freak. Actually, thinking about it, what does this have to do with Mamonga in the first place? I think I just started talking about Vare. Sorry. Mamonga is silly and Mamonga shakes it. So because I know Vare can shake it, Vare can also be Mamonga. Also, I'm basing this a lot on his Twitter interactions too. Like, a lot of the times, I feel like Vare has these like jokes and stuff that are so overused. But he still goes for it. I think he's up to like 450 baby girls that he like baby girl mentions on stream or something like that. What does that even have to do with Mamonga? I have no idea, but whatever. He can be Mamonga. I don't know. I think I'm actually reaching with this one. Now let's go back to the top and figure out who is our next triple Chiikawa Hachiware Usagi. Sable is Chiikawa. I think that's just the way it's gotta be. You agree with me, right? Like, out of everybody left on the board, I feel like Sable has to be the Chiikawa. Sable does his best to really express how much he loves everyone. But sometimes it comes out as like a bean trying his best. You know what I mean? As if a dog is trying his best to learn how to speak a language, and all he wants to say is "I love you." But the dog is trying so hard. It's almost funny. Sable will not fight back when he is teased. That's a cute image. Sei-chan is very sweet. Yeah, he is very sweet. And Hachiware, it's gotta be Kaix, right? Every time I see Kaix, I always feel that he has this huge amount of silliness, but a lot of it is in control too. But moments where he gets flustered are times where he gets like absolutely surprised. And I feel like those are some of my favorite Kaix moments ever. Sometimes one of my favorite things to do whenever I'm like collabing with other livers is to see how hard I can make like a certain liver laugh. When I was like doing the collab earlier today, Rose Midnight Live, I was like actively trying to get Kaix to laugh. And I forgot what joke it was. I think it was like the free Ren joke. But I remember Kaix laughing so hard and I was so proud of it. And Hachiwade has the best laughs. Every time I hear Hachiwade laugh, I feel like everything is right in the world. Because of that, I feel like Kaix has huge Hachiwade vibes. He's silly, he's really silly, but also, like, the laugh is just goated. But, like, when it comes down to Sable and Kaix's, like, vibes together, I do feel like Kaix feels more like somebody who can be the first person to step foot on an adventure. Usagi, it has to be I haven't really seen Millie and Kaix interact too much, or even like with By the Beat too much, I think. But Millie is Usagi. I think that's clear as day. But for Freo, I don't know, I feel like Freyo's more Chikawa. The way that Freo talks in collabs and stuff, I feel like it's super Chikawa boy. There was this one moment where we were playing Street Fighter. I remember we were on teams, and it was really tough. And at some point, I think that Freo actually clutched it out and our team won against Sunny, and Sunny was like, oh my god, Freo, I'm so proud of you, dude, you beat me, I was really trying. And Freo was just like, nah, I know you're really going easy on me, senpai. And I was like, oh, take the compliment already, take the compliment already, take the compliment already. Why does he have to cry? He won. Why does he feel like he's crying? I feel like he's always crying. No, even on his best days, sometimes I feel like he's about to cry. He's holding it in. And Zeal, so that we're finishing By the Beat. Zeal's tough, but I feel like Zeal, thanks. You're welcome. Trust me, it's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good one. Zeal's tough. Zeal's really tough. I feel like Zeal isn't Hachiwade. Hachiwade will fall down into a pit and he'll cry his eyes out because he'll think that nobody's there to save him. But the thing about Zeal is that Zeal is always capable. In a way, Usagi's really capable, so I think that he could be Usagi. But also, I'm not sure about it because Usagi speaks nonsense. Zeal doesn't speak nonsense. Zeal speaks like somebody who's really learned, who knows a lot of stuff. They're so cute and is like really bratty, which is also cute. That's the reason why I put Ver as Mamonga, because he's bratty. That's exactly why I put Ver there. I guess I'll put Zeal as Rockco for the Project Sekai tournament. Zeal really felt like a leader point. I know that a lot of people really looked up to him. I remember even when he raided into me on that day and we were like going, and I was like going over my problems with him. Zeal was just like, I believe in you. I feel like Ren is like on his other tier, right? I feel like Ren is kind of more like the weird Sunday night villain where he just like appears and does something really crazy and then he disappears. I feel like Ren fits that role so perfectly. I think Ren just owns completely different character. I feel like you can kind of argue Hachiwade a little bit, but I feel like Ren is a little bit too mature and learned to have that kind of adventurous, super duper adventurous side. I know that he says he preaches touch grass, but Ren is somebody who already understands the world. He feels more like Rockco than Hachiwade to me. He's dependable, but he's like not as serious as Rockco. Mamonga, no. Pochette, a little bit Pochette. Kurimanju, a little bit maybe. Shisa, he does grind out his music a lot, but I feel like Ren definitely fits into the whole. If I had to cast Ren, I'd definitely give him as the funny villainous character that appears like every week as like something different, makes like a new funny voice. I kinda wanna give Uki Mamonga! Uki can be sassy. Uki can be super sassy. Uki's level of sass. I can't imagine Mamonga being able to drive a car. And Uki's probably the person in this whole branch who is the least able to drive a car. I think a 5-year-old can play Mario Kart a bit better than Uki. Uki, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. But you know it's true. Uki, you can't drive.